I'm pumped because I just went to deliver makeup to a lady that she had
Yeah.
owed me money from Thanksgiving, that she kind of carried a balance. And anyway, and I let her have it. And finally, I think she got her tax return money in. And to make a long story short, she was going to owe me $253 tonight. And when I left, I got a $303 check because she ended up taking another $50 worth of stuff.
Yes.
Yay!
When?
That's exciting.
When? I was like, oh my.
Yeah.
What?
That's amazing.
That
So,
is awesome.
awesome.
That is awesome.
Awesome. Anyway, I'm pumped.
Yeah.
So tonight we're going to talk about balance, how to balance work, like a job, which Brandy now has experience with,
This call is all my fault.
with your personal life and business and any other things that you have going on, how to balance that and how to still make the business work. And I've got some notes, and I know Brandy's got some things to say, and I've got some notes from Becca here that we're going to go over. So just to start it off there, when you are trying to find balance, you can fit Younique into little bitty spots, right? And one thing that I've learned in the last few weeks that I had a really hard time with was when I started a conversation with someone, I wanted to be present for that whole conversation. So if they messaged me back right away, I wanted to have the time to message them. And so I would put off messaging people because I didn't have time to talk to them right now. Mm-hmm. And what would end up happening is by the time I was ready to send messages, I would be like, oh man, it's too late. I can't be messaging people now. It's too late. I don't want to message someone now, or something like that. And so I would not send the messages. But if you have 15 minutes here or there, send the messages, and don't even worry about looking at their response right then. Send whatever messages you want to send those out and get the contact out. And then go back, and when you have 15 minutes later on in the day again, that's when you make those reconnects. That's when you go to your messenger and you look at everybody that you did message and that has responded to you, and you respond back to them. That's been huge for me in the last few weeks. So I'll send out messages at one point in the day, and I literally, as soon as I send the message, I close it. Even if I'm on my laptop, I close it so that they don't even see that I know that they responded. That way I can message all the people I want to message in a day, because right now I'm messaging about 30 people a day. And so when I do that, I send out my 30 messages and I just send them all. And then I walk away. And I don't even look at the responses until I have time later on in the day, right? Because I don't have straight hours in a row that I can work. So I do that, and then I come back to them later when I have 15, 20 minutes, and I answer as many people as I can. But they get one response if I only have time to send one response. And then when they respond back to me, then the next time that I have 15, 20 minutes, I send out a bunch more responses. And I keep the conversation going, but not all in one little 5-minute increment, not like 15 minutes straight. It's the conversation will happen over a couple of days, and I didn't used to do that. The great thing about Younique is that you can do that, right? Like, we can work this business. Hey, Angela, we can work this business from wherever we are. And it can be, the majority of my business is done like in doctor's offices or in the school parking lot. I do the majority of my messages come from those places. And a lot of our top leaders in this company have built their businesses solely using their phones. Whether you have a job or you've got kids or you've got volunteering stuff that you're doing or whatever, we all have other commitments other than just this business. There's not a single person on this team, and probably not in the entire company, that doesn't have a million other responsibilities than this. The difference is when you prioritize it and you make it a must. And this week I did some training, and in the training he was like, when you have a baby, you're not used to that baby, right? Like, when you first delivered your baby, you're not used to taking care of that baby. But there's not a day, no matter how busy your life was before, there's not a single day that you don't feed your baby, right? Like, your baby's going to eat. You don't take the chance of not feeding your baby for a day. And your business is your baby. So even though you have a million things going on, because you prioritize it, you make the time to give it what it needs every day. And really, honestly, a lot of our time, what I found for myself personally lately, a lot of my time that I think I'm working and I think I'm putting all this extra effort into really working hard, I found that a lot of that time was actually wasted. A lot of that time was me scrolling on Facebook. A lot of that time was me sending out a message, but then kind of waiting for people to respond to me. And while I was waiting because I wanted to have that conversation right in that little chunk of time that I had. And I saw they were online, so why aren't they answering me back, right? Like, I see they're online. And so while I was waiting on them to respond, I would just be scrolling Facebook, and I would waste 20, 30 minutes just scrolling Facebook, waiting on one person to respond back to me, who may not even respond back to me, because let's be honest, the majority of people that you message, even if all you're saying is, hey, I hope you had a great day. How are you? Hey, what's new? Majority of people aren't even going to answer you back right at first, right? Like, they just don't. That's just not how people operate. So once I started prioritizing what I was going to do, I'm going to message 30 people a day. I send out my 30 messages. That's the first bit of business. I mean, I post in the morning. I try to post an inspirational quote or some product, something every morning. But the very next thing that I do on my business for the day is to send out those 30 messages, period. And then I go back and do my responses to people the next time I have time. So once I started doing that, gosh, I started making a whole lot more connections. I've been talking to people. There was a girl on my live tonight, you guys. Her name is Jessica Pierce. She's been in my VIP group for like 2 months. I've never had a single conversation with this person. Turns out a mutual friend of mine, and well, actually her sister-in-law added her to my group. Her sister-in-law and I met in Alaska on the retreat that I went on. She's been in my group since November. I have not had one conversation with her. I looked back. She's not interacted on a single one of my posts. She has not liked anything. She didn't even realize she was in my VIP group. She had nothing to do with me, right? I sent her a message and was just like, hey, just stopping by to say hello. How are you doing? I hope your day has been awesome. She responded back to me and was like, and how do I know you? And I said, I think that we know each other through Valerie. And she was like, oh, Valerie, that's my sister-in-law. And I was like, oh, cool. And I was like, I met her in Alaska. And instantly we were like having this big conversation about how she lives in Alaska. And so they stayed a couple of extra days to spend time with them when we all went to Alaska. And I was like, oh my gosh, I stayed a couple of extra days too. So we had this huge conversation. And on my live tonight, she was like, I'm dying for payday to get here before that kudos sells out. And this is a conversation that's happened in the last 5 days. And it's all been because I started prioritizing sending messages out to everyone instead of waiting on people to get back to me or only messaging people who are interacting with me. And I prioritize that. That's the first thing that I do is I make contacts so that all these people who've never seen me before start seeing me. Because just adding them as a friend isn't enough. They're not going to see what you're doing. They're not going to see what you're posting if you don't have any sort of private messaging going on. The bulk of what we do happens in private messenger. Even if it's your live or your post or your picture that hooks them and makes them want to buy, they're not even going to see that if you're not having private message conversations with them. Another big problem that I had is on days when I have like 1,000 things that I want to do with Younique, and Becca talked about this in her notes. I have like 1,000 things that I want to do, and I know I'm not going to be able to get them all done. I'll start stressing, trying to figure out what I can do and how can I work it. And because I'm stressing about it, I don't get as much work done. So I prioritize my messages. That's my number one. If I have time to go live, I'm going to go live. But if I don't have time to go live, I'm not, because my priority is my messages now. Because the bulk of what happens in Messenger, I want to be going live as much as possible. But the bulk of what I need to do for my business is I need to be messaging people. So you prioritize what is most important for you and you get that done. And then you fit in all the extras if you have time. Let's see. Set yourself a schedule. I've been on Sunday nights trying to like look at what we have planned throughout the week and schedule approximately what time I'm going to get what I'm calling my power hour, which is when I send out all those messages. Really only takes me like 25 minutes to send out the 30 messages, but I schedule that time And then as soon as I'm done, then I can get up and walk away, and I don't have to feel bad because I accomplished what I set out to accomplish. Save stuff to your phone, have it saved, have it ready, so that when you do have those extra minutes, you can post it like that, because it's already saved, it's already ready. I'll be 100% honest with you guys. I copy so many people's posts. I will literally go, when I have free time, I will go search the word like beloved kudos. I have been searching that, and when I see a post that I love, I copy it, paste it, put it in my notes, and wait for a picture I love.
And then I copy from her.
There you go. I mean, I have been doing that like crazy because I don't think of everything, right? Like, I don't think of the right way to say things or the right little catchphrase. I mean, I'm just not all that great with that stuff. But sometimes I can take 2 or 3 of them that I've seen of other people's and mesh them together, and it's perfect for me. Let's see. This is Becca's biggest tip, and it's the smartest tip ever. When she taught me this, oh my gosh, it saved me so much time. When you have a good makeup day or a good hair day or both, preferably, right? Take lots of pictures, different poses, change your shirt. It looks like you've got 1,000 pictures and it's literally just a different shirt. And nobody, I mean, we might notice that your makeup's the same, but your customers aren't going to notice that the makeup's the same. They're going to see that you're wearing a different shirt and think it's totally different. That's huge, because then you can throw your graphic, your picture of yourself together with some of those the phrasings that you stole from somebody else, and you can post it really fast. I mean, obviously, if you can create your own wording, create your own wording. And definitely don't just copy and paste without changing any words. You definitely want to change things up a little bit, make them your own as much as possible. But
I forgot to do that earlier.
Yeah, I forget sometimes too. It's totally okay, right? Like, we all do that. But
did you see Becca's picture today with no makeup, no mascara?
No.
I was like, well, she had a picture of her and Riley, and it was like, she looks good, but what is wrong? She looks kind of sickly.
Yeah,
and she was like, she put, dang, look at me with no mascara today.
Oh.
And she was running late, and it was really effective, I think, because I think people will look at her and go, dang, she looks better with totally mascara, different. You know? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even notice.
I thought that was
I didn't see the picture till just now. I haven't been on Facebook much today.
Anyways, I'll be quiet.
That's awesome. It is a big difference. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to talk about is that when you're, our lives are crazy. Like I was saying a few minutes ago, right? Like, every one of us has crazy things happening in our lives. For me personally, I can speak and say this is for me personally, and I am going to venture to bet that it would be this way for just about everybody. When my life is absolutely crazy, and I start working, I can control what I work, right? Like, I can control how many messages I send. I can't necessarily control the outcome, but I guarantee you that I'm making progress by sending those messages. I can guarantee you when I go live, I'm making progress. It may not result in a sale that day or someone joining that day, but it's progress, right? And at some point, there's always, I get this a lot, where somebody will be like, a few weeks ago you posted this picture. They didn't say anything. They didn't even like the picture when I posted it, but they remember the picture, or they remember what I said, or whatever. So I know I'm making progress when I'm doing these things, when I'm sending these messages, when I'm posting the pictures, when I'm whatever. That's something I can control. Sometimes everything in my house is completely out of control, and I'm a control freak, so that really bothers me. But this gives me something that I can control. And so when things are crazy, if I turn into my business, it gives me that thing to feel good about, that accomplishment of the day or of the week or of the month. It gives me that thing that I can feel like, even though everything else went crazy, I handled this and I did it, and it makes me feel good. Whereas before, I could easily go, and by before, I mean like even just a few months ago, I could easily go, oh my gosh, there's so much happening right now. I can't possibly work because I have so much other stuff going on in my life. And then it left me feeling like my entire life was out of control. But the moment that I started saying, no matter what's happening here, no matter who's sick, no matter who's in the hospital, no matter who's whatever, I'm going to do as much work as I can during the minutes that I can. I started feeling better and handling it better, and the stress wasn't as much, no matter even if the things happening were super stressful. So instead of turning away from your business when things get tough, turning into it and setting yourself, even if it is just those 15 minutes where you really focus and you really do give it that, it will create so much extra balance in your life because of the fact that it'll balance out your stress levels. And something, a story that I heard this week that you probably have all heard, and I'm just the only person never to have heard the story before. Because when I heard the story, everybody was commenting, oh yeah, I tell that story all the time. And I was like, never heard that before. Is a story about a guy walking along the beach. And as he's walking, there are thousands of starfish that have been swept up onto the beach, right? Well, starfish can't live. They have to be in the water. They can't live on the beach, right? So there are thousands and thousands of them. And this guy is walking along and he's just picking them up and chucking them out, picking them up and chucking them, just chucking them back into the water so that they can live, right? So they'll survive. And some guy walks up to him and says, I have a hair in my mouth. The guy didn't say that. Some guy walks up to him and he says, what are you doing that for? I mean, there's way too many. You're not going to save them all. What's the point? And he said, I mean, are you even making a difference? Does it even matter? And he picks another starfish up and he looks at it and he tosses it back up and he says, it matters to that one. And that's the thing. Even if we're not getting everything that we wanted to get done, the little that you do make the time to do matters. It matters. It makes a big difference. I'm in this challenge group, and this girl was talking about how she sent out her messages on a day when she didn't really feel like sending out her messages. And she connected with this one lady who agreed to take her samples. So she sent her samples. I don't know what business she's in or anything, but she sent her samples, and the girl got the samples, and she verified that she received them. And then she kept checking in with her every few days just to see if she had tried them out yet and what she thought. And finally, the lady said to her, you know, I'll be 100% honest. I'm never going to use this stuff. My son died the day before you sent me that message, and I was feeling totally alone. I was so sad. I was so depressed, and you sent me that message, and she just sent her a message and, just said, I'm just checking in on you. She was a stranger to her, and I just wanted to see how you were doing and tell you that I hoped your day was amazing, or something along those lines. And she said, you checking in on me and then continuing to have a conversation with me made me feel loved. And I was in such a dark place. And so I took your samples, not because I wanted to keep them, but because you made me feel good and I wanted to return the favor. So anyway, she wasn't going to buy the products or anything, but she did pass the information on to someone else. But that's not really the point of that. The point of that is she made that lady's day. The lady was in completely distraught. And her sending a message just saying, hey, I just wanted to let you know I was thinking about you and I hope you have a great day, made the lady's day. And in this business, every time that we make someone's day, we're making that difference. And it doesn't have to be all about the sale. It doesn't have to be all about people joining our team. Because if you're making a difference in people's lives, number one, that matters more to me than the sales or anything. But obviously I am in this to make money, so I do want the sales. But if you're making friendships, if you're building those friendships, you can guarantee they're going to pass your name along to someone else because you treated them well. When you handle someone well, when you treat them well, then they're going to return that favor and they're going to pass you along to their friends so that you can also treat them well. Okay, that's all I have. Brandy, you got stuff?
I've got the opposite of Cheryl's like, yeah, we do this and we do this and I balance here and I do this and I do that. I'm like, I completely failed this week. Let me tell y'all, I failed in life and business and mothering and wifing this week, okay? Normally, I meal plan.
New.
And, well, hold on. I'm going to get there. So for years, I did the wife thing, the mother thing, the full-time job thing, I didn't always cook. I didn't cook a lot. I cooked maybe once every other week. We had a Little Caesars down the street, which, Narelle, that's little $5 pizzas. Little Caesars. So like you drive through, you pick them up, you're good to go, right? But I'd gotten where I was meal planning, I was cooking every day, got Lizzie to cheer, did this, that, and the other. Laundry was done. The house isn't exactly clean, but stuff was done, right? There's like 2 weeks worth of clothes on the floor in front of me that need to be folded. I literally spent all day yesterday doing laundry. I have not meal planned. We had egg sandwiches for dinner. I did not get to take Lizzie to cheer today. Will took her because I ended up working. Today was my day off. But my manager had a funeral to go to, so they asked me to come in because they needed 3 bodies in the store. And oh dear God, did they need 3 bodies in the store. There was like 40 people in there at one point. It was insane. Yeah, like I walked in and my first 20 minutes, I had a $600 sale. I was like, I'm not even allowed to touch this stuff yet, but here you go buy this. So, you know, and that's when we were talking about the call, I'm like, can we talk about balance? Because if I showed y'all my purple planner, you'd be like, okay, well, you've got it all outlined. Why haven't you done it? Because I haven't worked in 2 years. And I've got to find time to bathe. And I've got to find these work clothes because I've lived in T-shirts and leggings for the last 2 years. Yeah, I've got to find time to get my kid from school. And I've got T-shirts I've got to make. And I've got this, that, and the other that I've got to do. I just mailed out the rest of my lip powders today that came in a little over a week ago. Yeah, gave them all a $5 credit, you know, like, hey, sorry. They're friends. They know I just started working. So yeah, they're all understanding, but it's been insane. And I just completely lost the ability to even do the 15 minutes here and there. Cause like, if I go to pee at work, either my phone's not on me or I'm replying to Cheryl and Becca about something. Like, all right, just checking in, finish peeing, gotta go by. But if you don't have that balance, you lose it all. And I'm not going to say I've lost it all. Like, let's be real. But I have a party going and I'm lucky if I post once a day because I forget about it. And part of the reason I've forgotten about it is because, you know, she's not very active in it. I was supposed to go live in there today. Cheryl.
You were.
Just remembered that.
Yeah, you were. You know, but
Oops.
that's the thing. Like, even I, you know, I've got so much with all my doctor's appointments and the kids' things. I forget all the time about my parties. And that's like my biggest drawback is the partying because I get distracted and I forget. And I tried to set up, you know, one of the post my party kind of things for it. But then I wasn't even connected to the party. Then I wasn't even there.
I do think that I'm going to have to start doing like Hootsuite again or something because I am working 9:30 to 3 every day. I get up and Will was like, why don't you go live when you do your makeup for work? I'm like, okay. It's not my normal, you know, 10 o'clock, 10:30, but I've kind of gotten a different group of viewers doing that. So that's what I've been doing. Like, I'll be dressed and get Lizzie to school, come back, hop on for like half an hour, do my makeup, and go to work. So I've got that part balanced out. But, you know, I was doing like you. I was trying to do the inspirational post. Like, I had a list of stuff that I would post every day. You want your engagement post. You want this. You want that. And I think I'm going to have to go back to Hootsuite to do that, especially right now. Because I started working Monday. Our schedule's made through Thursday, and I don't have a day off. Haven't had a day off. Part-time work, right? Yeah. Luckily, Will was off, so when they said they needed me today, I knew I could be like, hey, I need you to take Lizzie to cheer. You don't have to go in. Just drop her off at the door, pick her up at the door. But yeah, it's been really crazy trying to stay on base. And I even told Will, I'm like, I don't know how I did this before. Because, I mean, we were consistently pink before I left. And I was consistent with what I was doing, and now I'm just like, Didn't we match, by the way? Did you notice that? We're both in like hot pink.
Mm-hmm. But you can
Yeah.
find the balance. And this was your first week back at work.
This was my
So
first week back at work
I
in 2
wouldn't-
years.
I wouldn't expect someone to go back to work and instantly be like, I can do it all.
Right,
When I went back to work just as a mom without a business, when I went back to work when I was pregnant with Tenley, I went back. I had been home for a couple of years, 3 years, I think, 3 or 4, something like that. I had been home with her, not with her, with my older girls. And I had worked their whole lives. So I had never been at home before that.
Right.
I stayed home those 3 or 4 years. And when I went back to work, I only worked for a few months. I'm not even going to lie. I hated it. But when I went back to work, it was a bad work environment. So it had nothing to do with hating working. It was a bad work environment. But when I went back, I was coming home and I was like, wait, I have to cook dinner too. Wait, the house has to be clean. Why isn't it doing it to itself? Like, what is happening here? I couldn't figure out how to get all the things I needed to get done, how to get my kids to where they needed to be, get to my doctor's appointments, feed my family. Like, why couldn't they feed themselves at this point? Like, that's hard.
Like, I lived on protein shakes this week.
Yeah. And that was without a business. But as soon as I got into the rhythm, then I could have fit something else in there. Like we all do it, right? Like our kids pick up another activity and okay, well that's another 2 or 3 hours a week, but I have to take my kids to do this, the other. Or we have a show that we want to watch.
Yep.
We find a way to fit these things in, right? So you can do that with this too, but I wouldn't expect it to happen the first week.
Right, and it's adjustment because, let's be honest, I would sit on the couch and do all of my messaging and stuff. Like, I'm not getting up and being active. I need to check my steps for the last week because I have run my butt off.
I bet you have.
And so I get home, I get Lizzie where she needs to get, I get her in bed. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go die now. Like, it's 8 o'clock. It's time to go to bed.
I believe it.
I mean, as of when I got home yesterday, I was like, I'm not that tired. Like, I came home and I started doing laundry, and I mean, I was banging laundry out. I literally like washed everything. It's not all folded and put up. Most of it is, which I'm impressed because I hate laundry. Did a week's worth of dishes. It was bad. But I noticed, I was like, I'm not as tired. I can start working stuff back in. Even if it's going to the gym in the apartments while we're still here, I can work something into this time. And we know we can easily work from the gym.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I think that it's all about finding those minutes here and there and figuring out what works for you and where you can prioritize it. And for everyone, that's going to be somewhere different. I typically don't work when my kids are awake or around. Mostly because Keegan takes my phone from me all the time. And then I'll be like, okay, well, I'll work from my iPad. And then Tenley's like, I want to play on something. And then I don't have an iPad. And then I'm like, well, I don't want them playing on those. So then I'm like, well, I better do something with them so they're not just playing on electronics.
Right.
Like, well, I guess I can't work right now. And so I do a lot of my work. I do work in the mornings when it's just me and Keegan. Sometimes it just depends on how he's doing that day, but how needy he is. But I do a lot of my work after they've gone to bed at night, after everybody's in bed. Like honestly, it's Sunday. I haven't even done my 30 connects for the day because we had things going on all weekend. But I'm going to do them before I go to bed, and I'm going to read some chapters in my book, and my 30 messages are going to be all like party hostess messages. Like, I got to get some party hostesses because I want like 5,000 points for the trip.
Right.
So
I was hoping this party would be a little more successful with the person who's hosting it.
Yeah.
Presenter, so she knows how things need to go.
So, does anybody have any questions? I'm getting an echo.
Oh, hold on. I turned my volume off instead of muting.
No questions? Nothing to add? Anyone have anything to add? How they balance? How you balance? No?
Hold on, I see Narelle like furiously typing.
Oh. I'm pulling it up. I'm on my phone, so failing at balance here. It's hard. I know for me, there are many times where I'm like, oh my gosh, I've done nothing right. And before Teamsy, I don't want to keep just harping on Teamsy, but Teamsy has changed my ability to balance.
Now.
They should pay me. They should totally pay me because I talk about it all the time now. But Teamsy is what has allowed me to have balance. Before Teamsy, I didn't have balance. It was like I would work all day for a few days, and then I would be like, crap, it looks like I've never cleaned my house. I have to get up and clean something. And then I would work for a few days, and then I'd be like, I don't think my kid knows how to read. I need to practice with her. Okay, maybe not that severe, but we read every night. So it's a little sarcastic, but
you mean Michaela, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I would definitely be like, I would work. Oh my gosh, I have to work. And I would even tell my kids, like, I've got these goals, so I'm going to be working. So you guys have to help me out and help me pick up the slack that I'm definitely going to miss out on because I need to be putting all this extra time in. And in this training that I've been doing with Teamsy, I've realized that a lot of the time that I've been working has been really wasted. And as soon as I started, I can tell you guys honestly, I have messaged people who've been on my Facebook probably for a few years that I've never had a single conversation with, because some of them I'll look back and I'm like, I went to high school with this person. I don't even know who they are. Like, they've probably been on my Facebook since way before Unique. Never had a conversation with them. Didn't even realize that they were someone I went to high school with. And so we started talking and they're like, yeah, Cheryl, I know you. Oh, you do? How do you know me? And I'm making all these connections and I'm gaining all these friendships that I would have never gained without Teamsy. And I'm doing it in literally 20, 30 minutes a day. Like, my conversations are happening. Sorry, my nose really itches. I send out my 30 messages or so, and it takes me 20 to 25 messages to send those out, 20 to 25 minutes to send out those 30 messages. And then I turn around and later on in the day when I've got time, I'll spend a few minutes here or there responding back to people. But on my private messenger, which is where the bulk of my work is happening right now, I'm probably spending less than an hour and a half a day. And I feel more accomplished every day now than I've ever felt with Unique. I feel like I'm getting way more done. I'm talking to way more people. And, I've had some people who have responded a little rudely to me, like my girl who I sent a message to the other day and just said, hey, I hope you're having a great day. And she responded back and said, no. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And she was like, I figured you were just trying to sell me something. And I was like, oh, goodness, no. I was just checking to see how you're doing. I hope you're having a great day. Then I screenshot it, sent it to Brandy and Becca, and was like, that's my next customer. Like, I am going to convince her to buy something at some point.
She was like, challenge accepted.
Yeah, I did. I just instantly was like, but I'm doing all of this and it's literally taking me way less time. And I'm actually, like, when Pam asked me if I saw the picture of Becca earlier, normally I would have been like, yeah, I saw that because I'm on Facebook all the time. And I've been on Facebook so little in the last 2 weeks since I started this challenge. I've been on Facebook so little, but I'm getting way more work done. And I'm just not wasting time aimlessly scrolling through. I go and look at the people I want to look at, and I haven't done that yet today. That's why I haven't seen Becca's post. I did see her on live earlier. But I'm getting so much done and I'm getting it done so fast. And I definitely can say I did not do that before. I'm not saying you have to have Teamsy to work, but figuring out something where you've got all your contacts listed and you could just go through them and just message people and not be aimlessly like trying to decide, okay, so who am I going to message today? Or who am I going to try to talk to? Where you're not trying to figure it out and you're like I would go through my Facebook and just like scroll and look for someone's post that looked interesting enough to send them a private message before. And so I could scroll forever before I found something that I actually felt like was not a waste of my time to message them about. And instead, I'm getting all these messages done, just bam, 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 and moving on with my day. And I have more time to read, which is, huge. If you're in network marketing, you should be reading something like all the time. I have more time to read. I have more time to actually practice some makeup skills, and I have more time to do things like clean my house and play with my kids and cook actual really nutritious meals instead of, like what's the last minute thing that I can throw in the oven so that my family does eat today. And I am normally I've always been someone who cooks like really extravagant meals, and I haven't been doing that in the last several months because I've been so focused on working. And really I was now figuring out I've been so focused on wasting my time. So finding a system that works for you is huge. For me, it's definitely Teamzy. For you, it could be something else. I do know that I've talked to people who have set up spreadsheets like in Excel and done the exact same thing that I'm doing in Teamzy in Excel. But I know myself well enough to know I would never do it. Like, I would never get around to the point of actually creating that spreadsheet. I would talk about it and think about it for months and never do it. This works for me. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. I hope that everybody got some tips or something that they can take back and use. And I guess if nobody has anything to say, that's it.
I thought it was good.
Yay!
Yay!
Good. All right. Well, I am going to upload the recording as soon as we get off of here, as soon as it cloud down to my computer up to YouTube. I'm going to get it up. Whatever it does. I don't know how it works.
As soon as it does its thing.
And I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. There we go.
You're still recording?